everybody, welcome back to my channel for another acrylic painting tutorial. I'm Joni Young and I'm so glad you guys are joining me today for this dragonfly painting. I'm going to make this really magical and whimsical using fun colors, and I'm working on a 14 by 14 stretched canvas, gallery wrapped canvas. I have the following colors here and brushes. I'm going to go through them with you right now, and I'll also have a full list below this video, so just click the arrow below and the description box will pop up. You'll see links to my social media and Patreon, where you'll have access to many more full-length tutorials that you don't see here on YouTube. So I've got titanium white, luminous yellow, luminous pink, phthalo blue, bright aqua green, turquoise, sap green, and Mars black. Together with all these colors, we're going to make many other shades and really create a soft yet vibrant glowing painting. I've got a number 70 jumbo flat brush for the large areas of the background. Then I've got a smaller flat brush here, number 20. And I've got a number 2 rigger or long liner brush. I have a little toothbrush to spray on some stars and magical dust. And then I've got a 1/4 inch dagger brush for some other fine lines and the wings. So I'll show you how to use a dagger brush today. I don't think I've really demonstrated that before. It's one of my newer brushes that I recently got at the art store. Try something new and share that experience with you. So hope you guys are ready to paint along and watch this video. I want to thank you right off the bat for all of your support here. Whatever reason you're here today watching this, I really appreciate it, and I'm glad that you're here. So let's go ahead and get started. Be sure that you're subscribed to my channel and tap the bell. Now what I want to do is create a soft glowing sun here on the left hand side. So we're going to have a nice bright source of light here, and it's going to kind of radiate down to some sun rays, and then it's going to just fade gradually darker here. So I'm going to start the background with a little bit of white and yellow here, add a little bit of our luminous pink. And by the way, if you guys don't have the same colors I'm using here, just use whatever you have that's similar, or any yellow, any pink that you want. Same with greens and blues and white. So I'm going to use my large flat brush here. The first thing I'm going to do is get it a little bit wet, squeeze it in this little cup of water here. And this is a synthetic brush. I really like using synthetic brushes. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of water to my canvas prior to the paint, because this is going to help just a quick and easy, cheap way of prepping your acrylics, your canvas for taking the acrylics. Acrylics are really versatile. You can buy mediums to thin them out or let them stay wet longer. However, I find I have more control over the time that they dry and the texture of them just by adding a little bit of water here and there. I always like to mention that though, because we've always got new people joining us that are thinking about painting or have just started painting with acrylics, and they're not sure what's going on with them drying too quickly or not spreading across the canvas. So this is one of those really great little tips that's going to save you a lot of frustration. Okay, so just check it's a little bit damp. That's all you want. You don't want any drips coming down the canvas, otherwise your paint's going to just run right off. So just a little bit of water. I'm going to take a little bit of white here. I'm not going to mix it all up to make one solid color. I've just got a lot of white and a little bit of yellow on there. So I'm just going to go around like this, scoop, and just make a little circle there in the corner. I'm going to go back for some more yellow, and I'm going to continue just making it a little bit bigger like this. We're going to start to create a glow. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is take a little bit of white again and a little bit of pink. Now I'm going to start adding my pink partially where I left off on the yellow. So just inside part of that yellow there. And the reason being is so when we layer over and mix in with the yellow, we're going to get a really pretty coral color here. More on the light orange, peach kind of shade rather than a cool, bright pink. So we can use these colors. I'll take a little bit of yellow, a little bit of pink again, and white. So again, not mixing it on the palette to make one solid color. Have a little bit of fun with your brush too, and just kind of wiggle and squiggle around. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of water to the corner of my brush like this, and just release the rest of the paint. Try to get as much of that paint out of the brush before I go ahead and wash it. I'm going to add a little bit of that water that's on my brush from washing it out just down here on the bottom of the canvas, because we're going to come in with our next color. So what I'm going to do is take white first, then I'm going to take a little bit of blue and a little bit of pink. So I've got pink, white, blue. It doesn't matter what order you load your brush in, it just happened to work out for me like this. And what I'm going to do is start right about here, and I'm just going to go around, just kind of wiggling around. Having fun with my brush and the paint. It's a fun and whimsical kind of painting, so the process should be too. You've got to feel it while you're painting, and then you put that energy into your painting and you'll be able to deliver a painting that has emotion in it. And if you're not at that stage with your paintings yet, if you don't feel at one with the canvas and yourself, don't worry, it will come with time. You just keep painting along and trusting in the process. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got a little bit of that peach in there, but that's kind of pretty. This is all just going to be kind of in between our blades of grass. And I'm going to take a little bit more of the blue. And this is where I'm going to just start pulling. And what I want to do is have the grass on an angle like this, facing that sun. And I'm going to place the our dragonfly on the same angle. Everything is about being drawn to that sunlight. I'm going to add a little bit more water to my brush. I want to show you guys, because you're always asking how much water I use. Not very much. I'm going to take some green, a little bit more blue with the water in my brush, and I'm going to start right here off the corner. Instant grass. Now let's just keep pulling. Longer sweeping strokes. Pick up a little bit more water, do the same steps again. Water, blue, and green. Go right off the bottom here, pull up. Keep in mind that if we're painting a dragonfly the size that we are, we must be very close up to it. Therefore, the grass is going to be tall, long grass. I'm just going to get along the very bottom there of my canvas. Get those edges covered. Okay, I'm going to again go into my green, my blue. This time I'm going to take just a little bit of black. Now you can add water to your brush before or after you load it, just by dipping it in like that. And then we're going to very light pressure. We don't want to cover up all the layers that we have underneath. We want a little hint of those to show through. Okay, so now I'm gonna set this brush, well, I'm gonna rinse it off first. Make sure you're not leaving your brushes sitting in paint. Don't leave them sitting in water either. Okay, the next brush I'm going to be showing you how to use for some more pieces of grass is my 1/4 inch dagger striper brush. So what I'm going to do is come in with some thicker pieces of grass, and I'm going to hold my brush like this with the pointy side down and pull up. First, I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm going to go into my green, into my black, into my blue. I'm going to add a little bit more water because it is kind of like a liner brush, and you need extra water with your liner brushes. So again, I'm going to turn my brush over, the handles pointing straight up, and I'm going to very lightly push and then let off. So you can be wiggly with the brush because that's going to give you a little bit more of a natural look and bend to your pieces of grass. You can push on an angle and then let off. Now you can start from the top. If you find that a little bit awkward, do the same thing. Load your brush with those colors, a little bit of water. Start at the top, point, push, push. Okay, so this way you get just some different pieces of grass that are in more shadow. And then when you get the hang of it, you can come in and do it a little bit quicker. Have some that are bending. So like this, gently, and then pull down, or like that. If there's any that you don't like, just turn them into flowers or just go right over them. Okay, so I'm going to add, and these dagger brushes, they come in all sizes. So if you wanted to make much bigger one stroke pieces of grass, you can do that with a thicker or wider brush, or you can just go over them, making them thicker. You'll see all the different shades we get of green in here when we add the paint layers like this in layers. Now you can even pull in a little bit of the turquoise and add a little bit more of a cool Isn't that pretty? It just makes things more layered. It's all about adding a balance of both warm and cool temperatures to what you're painting. It really makes your painting sing. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush out now. Now I'm going to come over this with a little bit more of my yellow. I'm going to add a little bit of water because that's just a little bit dry. I don't want to thin it out too much though, so I'm just being a little bit careful. I'm just adding this over to the dry peachy pink to give this a little bit more saturation. Cleaning my brush out, I'm going to take straight white and I'm going to come inside. Then I'm going to take pink and yellow. Rinse that out. More yellow. And just soften, blend those colors out. And the next step is drying this all off completely. I'm going to apply the sun rays and then we're going to work on our dragonfly. I'm going to be painting some sun rays here on an angle and using my number 20 flat brush. So I'm going to show you how you can make some sun rays. Add a little bit of water to your paintbrush. Take some of our titanium white here and some yellow. Add a little bit more water. Really thin it out. We want to make it transparent and really thin. So let's see how we'll start right here where it starts to be yellow. So we're not going to go over the white part. On an angle. And I know I need more water. A little bit more white. Try that again. There we go. I'm not going to go right down to the bottom because I want that to be more in shadow. So I'm going to add a few more of these. Just soft, very soft little rays coming from the sun here. Help create this magical painting. I'm also going to be adding some little sparkle dust with a toothbrush. I'm going to spray some first before we add our dragonfly, and then I'm going to spray a little bit when the dragonfly is all done. So I'm going to rinse my brush out. I'm going to add straight white right in here because even though the canvas is white, the titanium white is a brighter white than the canvas. Okay, so before we do anything else, I'm going to take a little bit more of my phthalo blue. A little bit of phthalo blue here. I'm using Holbein paints. This is what they look like, Holbein acrylic. I've got some pink here, a little bit of water in my brush. So a little bit of blue and pink. Let's take a little bit more of that pink and we'll make purple. A little bit of white. And I'm going to come from down here at the bottom and I'm going to lightly pull from the base of the canvas up. Or on an angle, I should say. Like a little bit of white in there. So anything similar to this color that I'm making will do. I just want to go over part of these sun rays to give it a little bit of a extra bit of color down on the bottom, like the cool colors. Okay, now we're going to use the toothbrush. And use this toothbrush, get the paint on it, a little bit of water, and we're going to hold the brush and just spray like this. So first you want to get it wet, get off all those drips. I'm going to add a little bit of the bluey, pinky, purpley color, anything kind of like that with a little bit of white in it. And I'm going to spray around here. It's going to dry a little darker than this, especially because I've got water in the brush, but I want to start to create that light glow. I'm going to dry this off once more, and then we're going to start painting the dragonfly. Now you'll notice once it's dry that it's a little bit darker, and I mentioned that before, that it's going to dry a little bit darker. So when we come in with more sparkle with our toothbrush later, I'm going to focus on adding a lot more white. For our dragonfly, I'm going to be using my dagger brush. Feel free to use a liner brush or a round brush, even a filbert brush, whatever you're comfortable with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this light bluey color, or even just white, anything that's light enough that it's going to show up against this this backdrop. And the reason why you want to choose a darker backdrop to paint your dragonfly on, or even a butterfly, the wings will show up a lot better, the details will show up a lot better, and it'll kind of have more of a glow to it, and we'll be able to build up that kind of iridescent sheen and shimmer that the wings have. So just loading my brush like this, there's a little bit of water there to thin it out. And the thing about painting wings and things that are symmetrical, it can be really challenging for people and kind of intimidating, but I just want to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So I'm just going to show you a little tip. So I'm going to go start from here on an angle. Let me bring it down a little bit lower so I can make sure those wings stand out right here. And then I'm going to go down, up, you can do sort of like a figure 8 like that. And then I kind of got ahead of myself here and started the next one. So pull it in, scoop, and go down. Make the wings a little bit bigger. Now it's not showing up very well there, so that's where I'm going to introduce a little bit of just a little bit of black here in with my kind of purpley and a little bit of blue there, and go over that again. But you don't have to be like really too particular with your wings. Remember, we're creating a mood and a feeling, and we'll know it's a dragonfly even if it isn't like a photograph. Okay, so I just want to kind of relax you guys right off the bat so you don't get frustrated. Now you can take a little bit of, once you draw it on with your brush, you can take a little bit of it off, just kind of wiping and pushing. I've got my flat brush here, sort of like you would if you were using pencil and eraser. So you would just kind of come in and thin the outline off with your eraser. So just a little something like that. Okay, I'm going to rinse that brush out. And I'm going to take a little bit more white this time. So see how I kind of hold it on? I'm holding it on an angle and I'm kind of cutting in to load the end of the brush. So just make the wings a little bit bigger if you need to, or smaller if you need to, but don't lose your mind over it. Okay, so we've got a basic little outline here. I like to add a little bit of white like this. I'm going to make a little sparkle there out of that. So when you have a little little mistake like that, if you catch your paint and you pull it down, just use clean liner brush or this angle brush and just turn it into a little sparkle. So then I'll go in and I'll take some more white, and what I'm going to do is start adding my own design here. I find it very difficult to look at an actual photo close up of a dragonfly and try to copy that. So I'm just scoop, scoop, and then a smaller scoop, longer scoop, smaller scoop, and then the same on this side, longer scoop, shorter scoop, so on and so on. What I like about using the dagger brush is that you can really have control of the thin lines that you want to create, and you can also make them thicker. So I'm going to go from the center of the wing and then pull down and curve another one here, right there, and another one right here. So we'll do 3 on each side. Curve, another one, and another one. There's always one side that's a little bit trickier for me, especially if when I'm filming and I don't want to put my head in the way, otherwise you can't see what I'm doing. But it's just this right side that's not exactly the same. But I'm really good at like camouflaging things with sparkles and stars. So I'm going to do that with any areas that I'm not really 100% confident about. And I just want you guys to know that you don't have to have a perfect painting for it to be pretty. People quit because they are too focused on making something look exactly like it is in nature. Let's add a little scoop here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is come in with the body and the head. We have like a little half oval right here. So just add a half oval or half circle is fine too. And then we're going to bring it in a little narrower. And it's going to get narrower. Okay, just like that. I'm going to take my liner, my number 2 rigger liner brush. So with water in the liner brush, I'm going to just thin out this. Actually, just hold this cup here because I know I'm going to need it. Again, twist and roll. Don't have too much paint in your brush. You really just want the paint on the end. And we're just going to add a few extra little lines in here. So wherever you have spaces in between your main lines, you want to just add thinner ones. Now if you have a smaller, and then I'm going to go and just kind of crisscross there. You can add little loops, crisscrosses. You can make them. I painted a dragonfly actually yesterday, and I was doing a bunch of little squiggles like this. It's really fun to make up your own patterns. And let's not forget about these little ones up here. but you want these to be thinner. So if you're finding that they're competing with the main lines that we first applied, just go over like I am here. With a thicker coat of the titanium white only with no water in it. And then I like to start adding little dabs of the white that is going to be like little, almost like little dewdrops and sparkles, helping to create that shimmer. I'm not going to cover up that the blue line that we added. I'm just going to add some white around it. And I'm going to get back, of course, to these little lines, these little designs within these main shapes in just a minute. This is starting to fade already as it's drying, because it just does, especially over top of a darker base. So we've got this dark base first that we added, right? I'll take a little bit of that off. I wanted to make it a little bit wider and longer, but I've decided I like it the way it was originally. So I'll keep the thicker white paint on there to make sure that it's nice and bright after. And you'll see why I did that after we go over it. We'll get there pretty soon. Just want to add a little bit more of our little dabs here. And now I'm going to add those thinner designs again. So just these little squiggles here, go through them, any kind of pattern that you want. And before you know it, you've created your very own signature magical dragonfly. I just think it's so much more fun to make something our own that no one else can ever really copy. You can try as much as you want, but it's like someone's handwriting. I mean, you can get really close if you're really good at it, but when you add your own little touch and your own style on something, it's really hard for someone to copy that. And originality is unique and special, especially in this day and age. Okay, so we're not going to see the legs of the dragonfly because it's midair and its little legs are kind of tucked in. If we were painting the dragonfly from the side on a flower, then we would see the legs, and I might do that in a future tutorial. Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to be using the angle brush, and I'm going to come inside with a little bit of purple. So I'm going to make purple with my phthalo blue and my pink, and I'm going to come inside part of the white. I'm going to leave the outside in white, and then I'm going to add two little circles there. They don't have to be perfect circles. Mine definitely aren't, and I might add a little bit more later. And I'm just going to come inside here. Let me take a little bit more of that pink. Again, use a smaller brush if you feel more comfortable. And I'm just going to start adding little lines down towards the base. Load my brush up again. And then I'm going to come inside and pull a line. Make it a little bit thicker and darker on the body. Okay, then I'm going to take a little bit of turquoise on the tip of my brush here. And I'm going to outline these little circles. And then I'm going to go gently push and pull into the center. Almost looks like a heart. Take a little bit of white, go over that. Dab, dab on an angle. Dab, dab, dab. 3 or 4 of those. I got that green, a little bit of turquoise green with a little bit of white. And then smaller and smaller. Now I'm going to take some green and black after rinsing my brush out. I'm going to go outline. Add a few lines in here and dabs. Back over to my pink and blue. I'm going to add a few lines. 1, 2, 3. A little bit of water on my brush. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Little shadow inside of the wings. Liner brush or rigger brush. And take a little bit of yellow with the turquoise. Get a little bit on the end there like that. I want I guess these are the eyes. One to be bigger. I'm gonna add a little dab in each. And try that again. Little dab there, here, here. You can make yours any way you want, remember. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a little line here, here, and then I'm gonna come in. Dab, 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 dab. So we can still see a little bit of the blue and the pink in there. So there's just this little extra spot there that I want to add a little bit of sap green and white to just get rid of that dark area there, kind of camouflage it. Clean brush, white and a little bit of yellow, or that light kind of greenish color that we just used. And I'm gonna just pop out the front there for its mouth, I think, and kind of outline the sides here. It's being, you know, highlighted from the sun rays. So I'm going to use my dagger brush. I'm going to start off with some white and some yellow. Get a little bit on the end of the brush, and we're just going to start by adding a little dab right in there, and then going around and adding a little bit here and there over part of the wings. So you can add these cute little dabs and then also pull to create a little bit of a shimmer, and then I'm going to add a little bit to the tail right in here. Now I'm going to take some pink and I'm going to mix that up. Take a little bit more white. A little ball. Let me just get a little bit more white in there. I don't want this to be too dark. A little ball of light pink. And we'll start adding it here and there. I'm going to rinse my brush out, and I'm just going to sweep a little bit of this off here. I'm going to go over with a little bit more white. Dab, 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 little tiny dabs. Now with a little bit of yellow and pink, we can make sort of that peachy color. So we can add a little bit of this. This is going to give the wings the iridescent look that we want to create. And then add a little bit of a shimmer, a little pull over them. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot of paint. I have way more paint here than I need. I'll probably do another tutorial with this leftover paint after. The next color I want to take is turquoise, but I'm going to do a little turquoise and white. It's already a soft color, but I want to make it even softer. So we'll just get a little ball on the tip of the brush. Add a little bit in here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of blue with that without washing my brush off. I'm going to add a little bit in here where we had those dark lines. Add a little bit of white, dot and dab. Okay, so I'm gonna take a toothbrush now and add a few more sprays. Let's take a little bit of yellow with the white, and I'm gonna just kind of spray around the dragonfly. Then I'm going to go into the pink, a little bit of that yellow and white again. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to be a little more generous with the pink, less white. Okay, back over to the dagger brush. I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm going to add some more dabs and make little stars. So I'll just pull and flick down to the side, up. You can add them anywhere you want. Just remember to go back after and add a little bit of white inside to make them nice and bright and have that sparkle effect. Then where you have these little blobs that we sprayed on, if you have any bigger ones like I do here, I just use them for more stars. So then we have different sizes. And then dab in the middle. Oh, where could we add another one? Maybe one right here. And another one right in here, right by the tail. And you can take your finger and soften if you want. Or a little bit of water. Loosen up some of that paint and make your stars have a little bit more of a glow. I'm going to make a light purple. I think that are a little bit lighter purple in here. And I'll add a little bit of white inside of that. Smaller dab and little tiny pulls. So we're left with a really light, soft purple there. Add a little extra white here because I know once it dries, it's going to be a little bit darker. As many or as few as you like. I wanted to make this extra magical and sparkly. And it also helps you guys learn how to make them when you watch me do it quite a bit. And we can add a few simple flowers along here. I'm going to use this brush to scoop up my kind of peachy color that I've got here, a little bit on the tip of my brush, and we go from the pointy side and then up, pointy side up, pull towards the center. Just some really simple, no fuss flowers. Let's add a little turquoise. And we'll add some right here. Push, let up, push, and then let off. Maybe some little peachy ones here. We don't have to know what everything is, and we don't need to see every detail of the flower, but see how we're just kind of creating this pretty little area here. And I'll take a little bit of green with my yellow. We'll add a little kind of half circle on the top of the flowers. We'll add a little stem on them, a little bit of green, black, and some water. Just little pulls. A leaf, push, let off. Okay, this painting's all done. This was really fun to create for you guys. I hope that you want to paint along, and I hope that you learned a lot today or got inspired and motivated to start painting. Whatever your reason that brought you here today, leave a comment below and say hi and let me know if you have any questions or any requests. Take care, everybody. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I appreciate all of your support. Sending you guys all the best. Happy painting out there, and I'll see you all soon in my next video. Bye!